Okay, I want to welcome you both. First time at Songcraft for Kevin Hummel and Joe Mendick.
Okay.
Kevin and Joe.
How you doing, Dan?
How you doing? You just done two original songs. Start off with a cover of Bruce Springsteen, and one of the first questions I asked the newbies is about influences. So you had Springsteen there, but I'll start with you, Joe. Going back, was it first memories of music that inspired you to want to sing?
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I tease Kevin, we're not quite 10 years apart, but I grew up on the music of my babysitters, which happened to be people that were about Kevin's age. And, you know, there was this friend of my parents that had a bedroom above his garage. And I remember him taking me up there and playing Steppenwolf and Strawberry Alarm Clock and Creedence Clearwater Revival. I remember as a 7-year-old or 8-year-old kid hearing The Pusher by Steppenwolf, and I'm like, they can say that word on the record? And I've just loved music ever since. Okay. And I ran into him at a church picnic, and he was playing a band that was just doing covers and kind of background music. And I said, do you guys know any Creedence? And we did. Right. Have you ever seen The Rain? And we've been friends since.
All right. So kind of the psychedelic era was a big influence on you because of your babysitter.
Right. Absolutely.
That's a first, I think. Yeah. Kevin, you go back to some of your, I don't want to say roots, I want to say memories.
Sure. Actually, my mother was a professional singer. She sang and danced with, some of you might be old enough to remember the Earl Carroll show, and there was she had a dance group and traveled all over, dance and singing group. In fact, June Taylor was one of the people she hired, who later on, of course, went on to the June Taylor dancers from the Red Skelton show, if any of you are old enough to remember that. But anyway, Mom used to sing show tunes and things like Stormy Weather and 1940s, yeah, 1940s stuff, and Dad played the piano.
Solid ballads.
Yeah, the only problem is Dad couldn't transpose, so they could do like 3 songs and then that would be it. But
in other words, your father was a musician who played along, or
no? He just could read music and play piano, but
I see.
He couldn't transpose, and she always needed things in a lower key. So
there are no capos for the piano.
No capos for the piano. But anyway, that was my earliest influence, were my parents playing, the music of the 40s.
Tremendous.
And then, of course, I grew up on, have vague memories of some of the not early, but late 50s. And then, of course, when the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan, we were living in Kansas City, Missouri, in a little den, like a lot of people watching a tiny TV. And my brothers and I saw them and said, we got to get guitars. But there's an interesting quick story before that, is we had an English gal who came in to clean the house from time to time, and she actually lived in Liverpool. And a year before the Beatles ever appeared on Ed Sullivan, she bought us an album called Introducing the Beatles on VJ Records, which right now is very rare. And we knew about the Beatles a year before they ever played Ed Sullivan.
Wow.
And she had worked at the Cavern Club, where, of course, they got their beginnings.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah, so
did she speak what's known as Scouse? Scouse is the Northern England dialect.
Yeah.
Where, and the Beatles spoke Scouse, where every sentence sounds like a question.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Everything they say sounds like a question?
Yeah.
I'm not even doing it right. But
no, I understand.
If you've watched A Hard Day's Night, you know what I'm
yes,
talking
she
about,
had a
right?
very thick accent. So anyway, and grew up listening to a lot of music of the 60s and played in garage bands and did a duo with my brother and lots of other things over the years.
Well, I wanted to say about just listening to Falling Out of the Sky, song that you wrote, okay? What impressed me both with that and your first song was, and I don't get enough of this here at Songcraft, good hooks. Was there ever a point in your development as a songwriter where you said to yourself, I need a good hook, or this is going to have a good hook, or what's that process for you?
I think I've been writing songs since I was probably in my first garage band. They weren't very good, but I think it's like anything else. You just keep plugging away at it, and you listen to the music that you enjoy, and you realize that there are certain elements, like you said, a singable hook is important. And recently I've become a member of the NSAI, National Songwriters Association, and they're, if you don't write a good song, they beat you up pretty bad. So, so you learn pretty quick about it.
Well, they give you criticism online?
Oh yeah.
Is that right?
You got to have a thick skin to belong to that group, but they're all good folks, and learned a lot of good skills
It's got to
from
be
that.
fun.
Yeah, it is.
And I'll just
Yeah.
comment on something about Kevin. One thing I've learned about him is he downplays this, but his head is like a library card catalog of riffs and sounds. And when we write songs, I don't read music. I can sight read a little bit, but if I want to talk about a melody to him, I've got to hum it to him. But usually the way we write a song is he will come with a concept, a hook, and a refrain, and he's like, but I don't have any verses. so I write the verses.
Mr. Verse.
And sometimes in writing the verses, the concept or the hook will change a little bit. And what'll happen is I might have a sound in my head, and I'll go, well, if you remember that Tom Petty riff on American Girl, and you remember this thing that ZZ Top did, if you make the guitar sound like ZZ Top on LaGrange and play a riff similar to the Tom Petty song and use that as the bridge, and
so that's where the influences come in.
Yeah, and it's
not stealing. No. You know what David Bowie once said? It's not important who did it first.
Right.
It's important who did it second.
Right. And who did it well.
You know that it's worth stealing.
I think John.
No, really, I don't hear anything.
I think John Lennon said, "It's not that you steal a song; it's how well you disguise it."
Okay, that's good too. Now, okay.
We gotta
get going to the next song. You want to introduce it? And
Sure, I want to do so.
3 more minutes to the end of the interview, because YouTube has a 10-minute limit. Is what he's really saying.
Okay.
So we're having too much fun here. That's what's going on.
Right.
Your songwriting experience, Joe. Are you the co-writer of?
I kind of view
How long-
I kind of view myself as like the relief pitcher. Kevin starts the game, and some songs he writes into the 8th inning, and I'm the guy that comes in and throws the last 3 strikes. Sometimes he gets into the 4th inning, which is like one of those things where he's got a concept but doesn't really know what to do with it, and then I'll finish it. We did a song for a 50s band, the New Holidays. He had this idea about writing about drive-in movies. And he had a great hook and a great refrain, but really didn't know what else to do with it. And I did like these story verses about, getting there early and watching the dancing hot dog on the screen and the little kids on the swing set waiting for the sun to go down.
Yeah.
And we wrote a song about that.
Wow.
But that's probably the best example of us working together, because he had a dynamite hook, a great refrain, but nothing else.
And collaboration can be incredible. Or difficult if you're not on the same wavelength, or if you're touchy about something, how that can be. But
we both have thick skin, and
there you go.
And Joe downplays what he adds and brings to the game. Also, he's a professional writer for the Associated Press, so his writing skills, and he's been in the media business for a long time.
Yeah.
His writing skills are excellent, and he doesn't beat around the bush. He gets to the point.
Right. Take Me Back was the first song you guys did that's original tonight.
When the Soul Heart Was Young. Yeah.
Also, very good hook. Did you write that, Joe? The hook, or who?
That's Kevin's.
Really? Okay. Because you made it your own.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I contributed part of the line with the puzzled people waving plastic spoons, because we needed some kind of absurd imagery to connote confusion, and
Sounds great.
I thought of these people waving those sporks, And so,
now that was very up tempo. Now you mentioned something about falling out of the sky, being personal, about.
Well, the sentiment of the song is how I met my wife. It isn't a literal version of it, but
I'm sitting there and I misheard it.
it's kind of like suggested by.
Great. So it's an up-tempo song too, or positive.
Yeah, it's positive.
Okay.
In the end, it's positive. Starts out a little shaky.
I know.
Like most
falling out of
marriages
the
and
sky.
relationships.
Okay. we're going to wrap it up here, and thank you guys for coming, and you're going to do one more original song.
Yes, we will.